Michael Boyle's StrengthCoach.com presents the Strength Coach Podcast, brought to you by Perform Better, the experts in functional training and rehabilitation. PerformBetter.com.
All right, hey everybody, welcome to another special edition of the Strength Coach Podcast. I'm Anthony Rena. All right, today, special edition. We do this once a month. Vince Gabriele, founder of Gabriele Fitness Performance and Fitness Business University, where he helps gym owners get more clients. We're going to talk about that today. Make more money and have more freedom. He's also the author of 9 fitness business-related books, including the Big Book of Marketing. He does the KISS Marketing Business Secrets for Gym Owners, which I don't know how long I'm going to let him do that anymore because the guy is always so late sending me segments. It's already like September 15th. I don't even have one yet. Vince, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Ant. I appreciate it. I did want to lead with this. I'm having some marital problems, and I wanted to kind of start the podcast with talking about it.
Okay.
And I know you know my wife Vanessa, but the other day she gave me an ultimatum, and it's tough. It was hard, and it was hard to hear. But she told me, she said, Vince, if you don't get a gym membership that has a calf machine, pack your bags. And so I had to join Lifetime Fitness because they have a calf machine, because Vanessa was saying my legs were getting too skinny and I wasn't training calves because at Gabriele Fitness we didn't have a calf machine. So I'm a new member of a big box gym for the first time in 15 years. So I just wanted to make that announcement.
Wow, that is, nice. I like it. She doesn't like. Is it your calves or her calves?
No, it's my calves.
Okay.
It's my calves. Yeah. So you probably didn't know where that was going.
I had no clue.
That's my little. But interesting. It does kind of relate to what we're going to talk about today. And it, I signed up for the membership, and it's like first time in 15 years I became a member at a gym, and it was really weird. I felt like I was like doing something illegal. Because I owned a gym and I was joining another gym. But it's actually been a great learning experience so far. But one of the things, I talk about, I talk about small group training all the time, and I sign up for this membership. And they're like, oh, by the way, you get small group training with your membership. Right now, my membership's $200 a month. Right, so I get access to freaking the entire universe of fitness. I got to tell you, they have one of those 5 plates. It's freaking awesome.
Oh.
Stand on this thing. Oh my God, amazing. But anyway, so there's all this stuff that you get, and oh yeah, and by the way, you get small group training. And I was like, all right, cool. And that was the end of that. And I think that's one of the biggest problems I see with gyms today. Is that's how they market small group training. We do small group training. And I'm not going to go do small group training because that's how they sold it, right? And I didn't. And honestly, like I know small group training is. I've been in the industry for 20 years, right? But to the lay person that doesn't know what small group training is, well, what is that? Is that 40 people instead of 100? Is that one person? Is that 2 people instead of 1? Like, what the hell even is it? And I never got that explanation. I never got that description. Anyway, but that's how I wanted to start it, by telling you about my marital problems, but it also shines some interesting lights on the fact of how most people sell small group training and how I'm going to talk about it differently today.
Very cool. And I know I missed you at Perform Better because in Providence, I should say, Providence Perform Better Summit. We spoke back to back, introduced each other in Chicago. That was a lot of fun. I was really hoping to get to Providence, wasn't able to make it, but I heard some really good things. Heard you had a packed house at Perform Better.
Yeah, it started really rough. So I had Saladino was going before me, and I'm like kind of standing in the hallway, waiting for him, to finish. And one of the other lectures had gone out, and I'm kind of standing against the wall. And you know, Ant, how they have the sign that has the topic of that room?
Yeah.
Right. So there's the sign, and I'm standing like outside of the room, and I'm watching people come from another lecture to go towards that room. And I see them walking up to the sign to read what presentation was going to be in that room. And I mean, it was incredible what I saw. So these people, and this is hilarious, these people are walking and they don't know, you know, I'm kind of standing there. They don't, I'm not like a Boyle where like people recognize me and, you know, like I can go into the bathroom without people stopping me and being like, oh my God, you're Vince Gabriele. Like that's not like, but Boyle can't do that. Right.
Or I can't either.
So yeah. So I'm standing in the back and I'm watching people walk up to the sign, and then they're turning around and walking away.
Oh.
So literally I'm getting rejected right before my eyes. So I start messing with people. And people are looking up to the side and they turn around and walk away, and I walk up to them and yeah, that guy sucked. You shouldn't go to see him. And they're like looking at me like I was crazy. It was actually really funny, but that's how it started. It's like, it started with rejection. And then all of a sudden I, you know, saw that and I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be 5 people I'm going to talk to, and that's going to be cool and terrible at the same time. But it ended up being like the room got all of a sudden, you know, those rooms like weird. They don't start full, but all of a sudden you're like 10 minutes in and it's like, oh my God, I looked up and there was like a crap ton of people. So we had a packed house in Providence. It was awesome. The energy was really, really good. And it went very, very well. It was awesome. We had a great time.
Very cool. And you were talking about exact same thing you were talking about today, how to get 20 new clients in 30 days, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I wanted to do. So I'm doing, I told you that I'm doing a webinar this weekend. I think it's September 24th, 25th. And I'm doing it on the same topic as my Perform Better, because, you know what happened in Chicago when I spoke in Chicago. I ran out of time, and I had to really rush through in Providence because I only get about an hour to speak, and there's so much to say. There's so much I want to teach, and there's so much knowledge that I've acquired over the last 15 years of marketing small group training. And a lot of people look at this concept as this new thing. And no, this is what I started in the industry doing. I've been doing this the entire time, and it will not be anytime soon going into any other direction other than, doing personal training at my gym in small groups, right? So it's something I have just a vast amount of experience and knowledge and I have a lot to say and a lot to share. So I'm doing the webinar this weekend to be able to have an unlimited time frame. Obviously, it won't be 6 hours, right? But I feel like at the Perform Better conferences, I spend so much time talking to people afterwards and unpacking what I'm saying and things like that. And so I wanted to create this opportunity for people to go a lot deeper, to get a lot more insight, knowledge, and tools and tactics as well. Because I really don't have time to go into what the hell should you do, right? I kind of tell people what not to do, and I tell people, why they should do it. But I don't really have the time to go into the how-to, and that's kind of what I want to do on the webinar this weekend. Is get people if they want to go deep onto this topic of how to get new small group training clients in a short amount of time, they should come to the webinar. I'm going to do my best to give you some insight, but kind of same thing here. Obviously you tell me I have a limited amount of time to do these podcasts, so I'll, give less value because of your time constraints. And so what they'll have to do is they'll have to come to my webinar this weekend, where I give them an unlimited amount of value, not the limited amount of value that you allow me to do here on these special episodes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you'd stop yapping, maybe you can get into some of the value right now.
All right, let's go. So what I want to talk about kind of lead into this is so it's how to get 20 new small group training clients in 30 days. And there's been a lot said about 6-week challenges in the industry, right? And you've been around that. And you know, a lot of people have been kind of their stomach turned on the 6-week challenge thing. There was a bait and switch offer, going around for a while that was very popular. And a lot of people just like totally said, oh, I'm never going to do that. And other people are saying, well, you should never do 6-week challenges because it doesn't promote good habits for people and they shouldn't be doing these blitzes and stuff. And I think that's just a bunch of hogwash. Like, I really do think there are specific times in people's lives, of the people that we're marketing to, that need something like a 6-week challenge, that need some urgency to get their butt off the couch, to go and join a gym, to join a program, and whatever. And I think these things are great opportunities to do it. So in terms of getting new clients in this 30-day window, we do 4 offers a year at my gym, and this is what I teach to many of the guys in Mastermind, and many of them follow suit. But we do one in the fall, which we run. Actually, we're in the process of promoting ours right now at the gym. We do one, in New Year's time, like around in January. We do one pre-summer, and we actually do one during the summer, a shorter one. Right? But we have these 4 offers that we use we use these 4 time periods because these are very specific time periods where people are like, I got to do something. And that's pretty much why we have offers at that period of time. And typically what we see when we do these programs is we see anywhere from 20 to 30 new clients, 20 to 30 new clients. Our goal is always 30. Right. I guess our goal should be 25 because that's the average of 20 to 30, but our goal is always 30. We charge $500 for it. And very, very predictably, we hit these numbers. So if you do the math, 4 times a year, right, times 30, right, you don't need to be a math whiz to know that that's a good amount of new clients at $500 that are coming into your gym and training with you for 6 weeks. And the conversion rate for us on these challenges is 65%, right between 60 and 70%. So this is a really, really great opportunity to get a lot of great new clients in a short period of time. Now, what I want to do is, I kind of just gave everyone what to do, right? And, and this is part of the other thing is too, I'm going to yak here a little bit, but part of the other thing too is sometimes people like to complicate things too much. And they as the entrepreneur in them, the business owner in them wants to do new stuff all the time. And they're like, oh, let me try this. And, oh, let me try that. And it's like, no, you kind of just need to find out what works and then just do it. Dan Kennedy has this line where he says, getting rich is boring, right? I know that a 6-week challenge in the fall, in the winter, in the spring, right? I know that is going to bring me 20 to 30 new clients if I market it right every time. And we've been doing it for I don't know how many years. And so like when it comes up again, it's like, oh, the fall fat loss program again. And it's like almost a little boring. But in reality, what you need to do is if you want to have a good marketing system for your business, you need to have some consistency. So find out what works and then just run the play. It's like in football, it's like all of a sudden, if on 1st and 10, buck right gets you 4 yards every time, you should start with buck right every time until they stop it and start stuffing you in the one on the other line when you run buck right. Right? It's just like, so people kind of get, they get almost too creative. It's like, no, find what works. So I'm kind of giving you what works right now is you run these time-based events. Now, how you structure them is totally, up to you. And there's a specific way we do it and what we name it and how we price it and what we give them is different. But in reality, they're when your market is starving for something like this, you need to give it to them. And here's what I want to kind of talk about of how this comes about. And the most important thing you need to get good at is understanding how humans behave. And so if you think about the market of our market, right? And you're working with people over 50, I'm working with people 40 plus, right? Most of the people that listen to this podcast that train adults are training people, I would say no one's like searching for 22-year-olds. Like I don't see money marketing. We help 22-year-old college kids get back in shape. Like that's not happening, right? So we're training adults, maybe probably over 30. That's like 30 years old is the oldest I see people promoting stuff, right? And even when I see it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of dumb. They should go a little older. Because what is someone that's 30 years old? They're like, they're probably, in a different season of life versus someone that's 30. Now, there's a huge difference for me in my life between 30 and 35, big time, right? But what you need to do is, as a business owner, you have to look at your market and you'd be like, well, what's going on in the lives of these people during these time periods? And so let's take the time period for our market, and we could combine your market and my market, right? So people over 50 and people over 40, right? So let's just take this market and let's what is going on in the lives of people over 40 and 50 between Memorial Day and Labor Day? What is going on, right? So most of these people have, I wouldn't say all of them have kids, but I know the majority of the clients that come to my facility do have kids, right? So they have families. And what are they doing from Memorial Day, Labor Day? Well, they're traveling and they're going on vacations, and there's graduation parties and there's barbecues and there's all kinds of travel with the kids' sports and all kinds of stuff like that, right? So there's this entire change of life that happens from Memorial Day to Labor Day versus what happens from Labor Day to Memorial Day. From Labor Day to Memorial Day, right during the school year, what's happening? Well, there's a ton of consistency during that, right? There's a ton of consistency. There's school, and the kids have to go to school, and the people go to work, and there's not probably a ton of vacations throughout that period of time. It's very consistent. Whereas summer, it's like all over the place. So it's very, very hard for people to have consistent routines over the summertime. It's also very hard for people to stick to good nutrition programs during the summertime when they have, every other day is a beautiful summer day with a beer and a mimosa and all this stuff that people do and all the barbecues and all things like that. So it's like, one, there's an unpredictable schedule, right? Two, there's unlimited access to stuff that's going to throw you off your game. Three, if they are clients of a gym or do have a trainer and they're traveling a lot, they're not as consistent doing that, right? So it's like this period of a long period of time where these people are going and they're off track. And I think that what the gym owner, the trainer needs to understand is, how does this person feel? What is going on through their minds in late August, in early September? Now, here's exactly what it is, because my brother-in-law is a great guy. Like, I use him a lot because he's right in the middle of my market, and I'm sitting with him. Very recently, we're at we were down the beach, Jersey Shore, right? And we're sitting at this bar and we're drinking and he's hanging out and he's like telling me how he feels like crap, and this is what he said to me. He's like, here's what I want. Here's what I need. I need just like someone to just take over for me. I need someone to just tell me exactly what to do in the gym, how many reps to do, how many sets, how long to rest. I need someone to tell me exactly what to eat. I want some of that hormone shit. I want someone to tell me, what to take for my things and look at my blood and like do it all this stuff. And so he just basically, he didn't want, this habit forming program. Like what was he basically trying to say? Like he wanted results immediately. and he wanted someone to take over, take all the guesswork away from him, and be able to provide that for him, right? And so you look at that, and what is that guy apt to do? Is he looking for, say, start a new fitness program? No, he's looking for a result. He wants a specific result, and something like a 6-week challenge, a fat loss challenge, or something along those lines that has a start date and an end date is brilliant for that kind of person. And if he's thinking that, there's probably a lot of other people thinking that as well. And so all of a sudden we enter the mind of the person, right? We hear what they're saying, we hear what their challenges are, we hear what they need, and then we give it to them. We make it available. And so in September, right, you have this thing. And that's how, when I say how to get 20 new clients in 30 days, I'm not lying, right? That almost, people say that sounds like, ridiculous, and sounds like that's, clickbait, and that's not possible. And no, it is possible, because we do it 4 times a year, and it's very, very predictable, and it's very, very reliable. So that is kind of what you really need to do, is start to think about your market, start to think about what that market is going through, and then know when you need to make specific offers based on what's going on in the lives of those clients. Is that kind of making sense, Ant?
Absolutely. I love it. I think also it kind of goes back to your point about, and you've done webinars on this, you've done episodes on this, the understanding like almost the marketing calendar. It's not, I think you call it squirrel marketing, when people are just like, hey, what should we do now? What should we do now? It's September. No, you should have been thinking about this a while ago. So I love this idea about, hey, it's 4 offers a year. That's first of all, but understanding your client too. You're so right, because the summer for these people, they just are all over the map, and they'll use that as an excuse. So you have to understand what you're up against with that. It's like, well, my kids are doing this or my kids are doing that. Sometimes it's super hard to really get them to do anything at that time.
Yeah, and what people might think is, when you're hearing this, they're like, oh, well, there's pent up demand, so people are going to come find me. This guy that's my brother-in-law, it's like, all right, well, he really needs this, right? So he really needs this. So he'll come find me. He'll do the work. And the answer to that is no, he won't. No, he won't. You need to be there. Okay, you need to be there. This is the one, I can't remember who told me this, but this is a brilliant marketing. You need to be there when the problem you solve moves to the top of their to-do list. Now, I don't know if when that is going to move, but I do know that I want to be there every day in the month of September. Every day I want to be on social. Every day I want to be on email. Every day I want to be somewhere where the possibility of when he gets to the point when he can't button his pants, and when he gets to the point where he's like, I've had enough, I'm drawing the line in the sand, and knowing that's going to happen probably in that early September period, we need to be there. So you got to have an offer.
Yeah.
You got to have an offer. You can't sit on your hands and think, oh, well, the time period's going to help me out. I heard the worst thing. This guy's no longer a gym owner, and this is probably why. He was I believe it was like either November or December, and his gym was slow, and he's just like, I was like, how are things going? He's like, not good. And I was like, well, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just waiting until January. And I just was like, I just put my hand on my forehead and just like sighed. And I'm just like, that's why. And he's not a gym owner anymore, and that's exactly why. Because he was waiting until January. And you know what? He probably waited till January and didn't also have an offer. And he probably now saying, oh, I'm waiting until, pre-summer. Wait until, so it's just like, so that's like the really big part of it. And I talked about this earlier, but you have to have some kind of an offer, some type of a specific time period. I love, if you've read any of have you read any of Cialdini's work?
No.
He wrote Influence. So if you're into marketing, like, you got to read Cialdini's work. Like, it's ridiculously good.
Yeah, I know. Daniel Pink talks about him a lot.
Who's that?
Daniel Pink talks about him a lot.
Yeah. No, lots of people talk. Honestly, if you take a lot of like what goes on in internet marketing and you really peel it back, it's all peeled back to Cialdini stuff.
Yeah.
So he goes over the 6 laws of persuasion, and one of the laws is scarcity. So we promote scarcity, being that we only take X amount of people in this program, right? We also promote urgency, saying that, hey, this program is going to start on September 25th. Another point people make is another mistake people make is they start their challenges like on September 1st. Well, I don't know about you, but like on September 1st, do you know where I was at?
Jersey Shore?
No, September 1st, I was at the Poconos. Me and Vanessa and the kids, we rented a house in the Poconos, and we were on the lake, and we were paddleboarding, and we were doing this. It was still summer for us, right? So if a challenge started September 1st, I'm not even in this state. I'm in Pennsylvania, not New Jersey. So I wouldn't be able to start their challenge, right? So I think that what people got to understand too is like you got to give people like some time. So when you are going to start an offer, you need to do it, knowing that they're not going to be able to, and especially too if you're targeting moms. Like, so Vanessa, the first week of school for us was last week. Dude, Joey's got jiu-jitsu and baseball. Bella has soccer and drums. Toria's got like freaking dance for 8. Toria had dance till 8:30 there. She's 8 years old. Like, what the hell's going on with this?
That's just bad parenting, really.
Totally. I don't know how we're allowing that, but it's just like she was like, and then she's got to take kids to the, we have our kids going to the special orthodontist for their to teach them how to. I don't want to tell you what it's costing, but it's like we have these palate expanders that helps them breathe better, and it's actually really cool stuff. But anyway, she's taking them to the orthodontist, and then she's taking them to this, and it's just like. Dude, she's like, lives in the car. And it's like that first week of school to start something like that. It's like really hard and really challenging. And like just this week, things are starting to get, settled and things like that. So you got to understand. And this is where understanding what's going on in the lives of your people is so important. But you got to have some kind of an offer. And the last piece about this is, you need to have multiple ways that you're marketing the offer. So, back in 2016, you could put a picture of a piece of dog crap on Facebook and say gym, and people would opt in and come to your gym and become a member. Right? That's how easy it was. And then all of a sudden, they changed stuff and, all of a sudden people are panicking because they relied on that piece of dog crap picture, right? And they're like, oh, and this was like right when I was breaking into the consulting industry, and people started reaching out to me and like, they was like, I need your help. I was like, what's going on? He's like, well, I know that, you run your own gym and you really use Facebook, but most of the business you built was through other means like emails and referrals and community events and stuff like that. And people knew that I was, because I was teaching this, right? I started teaching all the other ways to get clients except for Facebook, right? Because I'd never been a Facebook guy, right? I've never run a Facebook ad in my entire life. Now I've had people that hire people to do that for me, but I've never, I can't go into Facebook right now and put up an ad. Like, I have no idea what to do. But so people knew that kind of was my, thing. And the problem that everyone's running into is they relied on one method. They relied on one way to get new clients. And when that one way dried up, they went to zero. And they were in deep doo-doo. And so the biggest piece of business and marketing advice I can give you is if you want a successful flow of clients, you can't rely on one way to get it. You got to have multiple. And on the webinar, I'm going to go through in detail all the ways that we use to get these 30 new clients every quarter. Well, I should stay true to the title of the webinar, 20 clients. Right? I don't want to like mislead anybody. But in reality, like we legitimately do, and I can show you the numbers to prove it. We legitimately do get anywhere from 20 to 30 every time we do this. Okay.
Vince, at some point, could you just kind of go over to a little bit about the messaging? Because again, there has been some of that, I know the challenge you're talking about, which it really was a bait and switch, like where you can get your money back if you reach your goals and blah, blah, blah. And then they made you sign, like you had to go on social media every day and whatever. But can you just talk about the message as well that you're talking about that? Because, obviously people shy away from this type of thing because they think it's dirty or it's like you're over promising. Or could you just talk about the message a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you want to have an overall message for your gym and who you're about, right? That's kind of one thing, and that's really you're building off your reputation, right? And you should be building up your reputation. I think a lot of people that did that challenge, maybe they did well in the short term, but if all of a sudden, you have, 25 people saying that they got bait and switched, like that's in a small town. Like that travels, and like that's not, you don't want to do that. So I think what you got to really understand is like, run your business, the right way. So word of mouth is a very, very powerful thing. So in terms of the messaging, obviously for this specific thing, right? When you have a time sensitive offer. We usually do theme it. So we have a theme for each one, right? And I told you the fall one is called the Fall Fat Loss Challenge, but then we theme it, our winter one a little bit differently. And our winter one is called 50 Strong, right? And 50 Strong is played a little bit differently. It's not as much on the weight loss. Whereas the past summer is really about just losing weight. The 50 Strong is more about, the life transformation type of thing. Not so much habits, but the mental side of this. And because what are people doing? They're thinking about their life and they're thinking about how do they become a better person and how do they get fit and healthy and stuff. So we kind of meet them where they're out there. And then the offer is for pre-summer. We call it our Memorial Day meltdown, and that we're very, very specific on. Hey, we're going to get you to burn as much fat as possible so you can look good for the summer. And a lot of people think, well, my market's 50 plus, and they're sophisticated, and they don't care how they look on the beach, and that is complete horseshit. That is complete horseshit. If
Agreed.
People think that they don't. If just because someone makes a lot of money and someone's married, that they don't want to look good on the beach when they have their shirt off, they are just like living in fantasy land, like completely.
Agreed.
Every person wants to. Right? Every person wants to, right? It may not be the reason that they say that they're coming in, and what do they say? Yeah, I want to live longer and I want to live healthy, but at the end of the day, they want to look in that mirror and they want to feel good about themselves, right? That's just human nature and human behavior. We all do, right? We all do, me included, and I believe you included too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen every single person that I've ever worked with, and in the golf world, it was 50 to 84, and everybody, even the guy in the 80s, wanted to make sure his belly was, looking okay. So
yeah. So in terms of the messaging, for these specific offers, it's built around a theme. But in terms of, that's just the overall title of it and the theme of it. But when you're marketing it, we don't do a ton of marketing around the features of the program, right? And we do mention them in the landing page, or features would be how many sessions they get. A feature would be, what nutrition plan they get. A feature would be the accountability they get. Those are all features of the program, and it's okay to mention it, but always along with features, there are what's called benefits. And I think that is really where you want to talk about it in your messaging, talk about it in your ads, in your emails, is what are the benefits of the features? What is the value that is brought to their life from having a trainer? What's the value that they're going to get from having a nutrition program that tells them exactly what to eat, right? So a pretty simple formula that people can use, like when they're writing the messaging on their page, it's I call it feature so you can, and then benefit, and then you can add a which means, which kind of gives them how it's going to impact them. So it's basically you're going to get 16 small group personal training sessions, so you can have every session with a coach that's watching you, which means you're going to be able to work out injury-free. For that, just a quick example off the top of my head, right? So it's not just small group training, small group workouts, and that's where people stop, right? In terms of the messaging, they stop at the feature, and what they really need to do is talk about the benefit, and then then go deeper and say how does the benefit? All this I'm going to go over in the webinar a little bit deeper on this stuff. So, but that's kind of in terms of messaging. One is the theme around the offer and matching the theme with the time period. But then two is when you're actually promoting the offer, what kind of messaging you're doing and using benefit-rich content and, psychology-based things of entering the conversation that's already going on in their head type thing, as opposed to just saying, you get this with the program. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I just wanted to make sure people were clear that, because and you mentioned it earlier, it was just a lot of people shy away from this because, and look, the way I explain my thing, the 50 days for 50 thing with my demographic is this is going to be a start. Okay, this is you making your comeback. So again, knowing it's not all 50-year-olds. It wouldn't be for me. This program wouldn't specifically be for me because I'm in shape already. But it's for the guy that's been sitting around saying, I got to get back in shape. You have to know what they're thinking. But again, I just wanted to go over that because I think a lot of people think, like you said earlier, I don't. That's wrong. No, we have to talk about their whole lifetime, and no, you got to get them a start. They got to start somewhere, and this is the way to do it.
Yeah, and then the last part is getting the multiple. Going back to what I was saying before, is the marketing it multiple ways. And this I'll unpack this a lot on the webinar of what we're using right now. We have about 6 things that we do to market the offer, right? So we create the offer, right? The offer for us is Fall Fat Loss Challenge. We create a landing page for that Fall Fat Loss Challenge. And I will talk about the difference on the landing pages for these things about, should you put the price on it? Should you not? Should you have them buy it on the page, or should you send them to a call link, or just really create an opt-in to get them to go into some kind of a sales funnel? I'll talk about that a lot because that gets somewhat tricky, to explain. But I have slides and things like that that'll go over it. But really the multiple ways that people can market it. We really are leaning on 6 things that we're doing to market that page, and everything we're doing is putting that link to the page. So if we do something on Instagram, the link is to that page. Did we do something on email? The link is to that page. And we drive all the traffic to that one page, and then we follow up, from there. So, but I think that the key is, is that there's multiple ways that we're getting this offer, because some people they live on social. But other people, like the guy I was talking about, my brother-in-law, he's not even on social. So there's no possible way, if you only marketed on Facebook, that there's no possible way you get him. You know what he does do? He has email, and he checks his email. But you know what else he does? He reads the freaking newspaper. Believe that? He
Yeah.
reads the freaking newspaper, right? And he reads that little local rag. All right, we have a little local, 16-page newspaper, old school looking thing. And you know why we market it? Why we market in that newspaper? Because he reads it.
Yeah.
Brilliant, right? It's just like, so I'll go over the 6 things that we're having the most success with now on the webinar, and really unpack each one of them. So we're people have some clarity around what we're actually. So it's one thing to create the offer, but then it's what actually do you do? And the cool thing about this is that even if you are doing it multiple places, like you are doing stuff on social and then you are doing stuff on email, you can use a lot of the same content, right? You're just kind of spreading it across platforms and different areas. Like the newspaper ad that I do is very similar to what it says on the sales page and the landing page.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like you have to revamp every marketing piece to each platform or each method that you're using. It's really about just taking the main core of the messaging that we talked about and then spreading that out between the platforms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Vince, one last question on this, just from the perspective of how far in advance? I know, like you said, this is going to be you have a bunch of messages, a bunch of ways to do this, multiple ways of marketing, and then you're doing it all the time. But specifically for a challenge, how far, like for this, the fall challenge, how far in advance were you really doing a big push for it?
Yep, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay.
And 3 weeks. That's the answer. We start 3 weeks ahead of the date, and we will actually we'll do 3 weeks before, but we will also continue to market the week of the challenge. And here's why: because people are procrastinators for a living. They procrastinate. They wait till the last friggin' minute to do everything. And just like your people here, we're releasing this podcast. I don't know whatever day we're going to release the podcast, but people are going to wait forever to register for this webinar.
Yeah.
They're going to wait, and they're not going to do it right away. You're going to give them the link at the end, and they're not going to click the link right away. They're going to wait, and they're going to wait, and they're going to see it on social, or they'll get an email from me, and then they'll finally do it probably on Friday, the day before the webinar. Right? They're just going to wait. They're not going to sign up right away when you give them the link. And the same thing holds true for the people that are joining. So we market it 3 weeks prior, and we market it that whole week and get people to sign up late. And people will, if it starts on a Monday, we'll tell people that sign up on a Thursday, you just missed 4 days. And we don't prorate it, no nothing. That's you don't get you don't get rewarded for being a friggin' procrastinator. Right.
Yeah.
So we signed a lot of people up the week of the challenge. So it's kind of like almost 4 weeks, but you I'll give you one quick nugget of what way we do it. Now you don't have to copy this exactly, but this is how we do it. And we have a lot of resources and that enable us to do this, but I'll just give you our email cycle. So we do an email a day, one email a day, leading up to the challenge, so 3 weeks before. So we send 21 emails, so one a day, leading up to the challenge. But we have what's called our first deadline. And our first deadline, if the challenge starts on Monday, our first deadline is on a Friday. And so we will send 5 emails on that Friday, really pushing them over the edge to really push it. Now, you might be like, listen to this, Vic, I can't even write 1 email, Vince. I'm not going to send 5. And that's like, okay, first of all, don't get overwhelmed, get excited. Okay. And I'm not saying you have to do exactly what we do, but just take the concept and take the concept of urgency and how powerful it is. You're going to want to do more on the deadline day, because that's when people get pushed over the edge, right? And then we close it on that Friday. And what we do is we reopen it Sunday night. And what we reopen it Sunday night and saying someone had to drop out, or we opened up a couple new spots and blah, 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 blah. And again, you don't really, and a lot of people do drop out, and, you have the ability to open up more spots if you want to. Right. And so then we announce that Sunday, and then we do another 5 emails on Monday. Right. And we really push it out hard on that Monday as like a second deadline day. And a lot of times people will come in on Tuesday and Wednesday, from the email on Monday and stuff like that. But that's kind of how we structure it in that one media, specifically the email. Is that helpful? I know that was a lot, and I don't think people need to copy that exactly, but what I want to teach people on the webinar is this line of thinking, right? If all you get from that is, okay, I need to do a little more on deadline day, I need to do a little more to get people to do it, then I think that's probably what people can take from it.
Yep. So the message here is webinar, how to get 20 new clients in 30 days, webinar September 24th and 25th. Make sure you sign up on September 23rd. And
don't sign up on September 23rd, because then, so what I do is once you sign up for the webinar, I'm going to send you some warm-up emails.
All right, cool.
So some emails that kind of get them going, and there's some videos in there that people can watch. So
nice.
If you sign up the day before, then you're not going to get access to that content. But there's a lot of good stuff I'm going to go over, and I suggest people block. I'm going to do the same webinar on both days, so that you can come on Saturday or Sunday. I don't know how long we're going to go, but it's going to not be a short webinar. We're going to go deep into this stuff, and I want to teach people, as much as we can, to help them, really build a marketing system for their business, as opposed to just wondering when their next client is going to walk through the door.
All right. And they can get that at vincesmasterclass.com. Is that right?
vincesmasterclass.com is the link to sign up for the webinar. It's free. But what else they should do is you're going to put the link in the show notes. And once they click the link in the show notes, as they're listening to this, they should go register right away, as we said, not wait like most people will do till Friday and potentially even Saturday. So.
All right, sounds good. I think another bonus is, I think in a couple months, Vince will send you his calf program from Lifetime Fitness, and so you too can have huge calves and save your marriage.
Hey, I will tell you, it's like I haven't done leg press in like 15 years. And I did the leg press. I was like, man, my quads were like popping. I was like, this is awesome. I've been doing split squats and Bulgarians and front squats like for 15 years. It's like I haven't done anything like that. And I did my workout the other day was leg press, leg extension, and leg curl. I was like, I hope Boyle never hears me talk about this ever again.
That's awesome.
But it was actually pretty funny.
All right, man. Well, Vince, thank you for doing this. Looking forward to how to get 20 new clients in 30 days. We'll have the links up. Guys, get over there, sign up. Vince, thanks again for doing this, brother.
Got it, man. Appreciate it.